Managing workplace disruption during COVID-19 pandemic, the HR implication. Ms. J embarked on her HR career in semiconductor manufacturing companies such as Taiyo Uden and ST Microelectronics. Her main responsibilities are expatriate management, recruitment, onboarding, and exit management, and to the production division as their business partner. She was the people champion for the post-merger integration initiative in reviewing the organizational structure, managing key personnel exit and retention, rolling out a series of culture and value workshops. Currently, she is a HR business partner in a small and medium-sized enterprise that is specialized in manufacturing snacks. This homegrown consumer food brand has been growing rapidly with 5 office and child markets worldwide. The company has been setting up retail shops in overseas and have 10 over retail shops locally selling their product, with their main revenue generated from tourists from all over the world. The organization has about 500 employees before the pandemic outbreak. Marketing strategy. Before the pandemic, the homegrown branded snack main revenue generated from their retail shop was patronized by tourists mainly. As only essential related industries are allowed to operate, the company have to think of other marketing strategies to increase their sales in order to sustain the company. By collaborating with online platforms like Lazada, Shopee, and exporting their product to overseas retailers, another strategy is to list their product into local supermarkets as they are part of the essential categories that are allowed to operate during the beginning of the pandemic.
Employees might be affected in two ways, physically and emotionally. Unanticipated shifts in the workplace have an impact on management and HR professionals. As the COVID-19 outbreak worsens, protecting the health and safety of employees must take first. Companies face a formidable challenge in devising responses to the unprecedented COVID-19 situation. Managers are responsible for promoting the company, assisting employees in meeting their objectives, and maintaining positive working relationships. Positive physical health at work helps teams remain agile when changing roles and responsibilities. As employees are fearful of their health, the company implemented measures along government's guidelines, such as having staggered workforce to minimize cross-contamination. The company have providing employees with face masks, hand sanitizers. Furthermore, all employees have to do an ART test before coming to work to ensure that sick employees are referred to a doctor and not penalized for being sick and missing work. Mental health challenges are now the norm among employees across all organizational levels. There are 3 areas where companies have took quick action. HRM professionals of the company have considered how remote working can lead to employee isolation due to a lack of face-to-face interaction between employees and lack of one-on-one communication, all of which can be sources of stress that can harm employees' mental health. Furthermore, the company have discussed difficulties in mental health and support programs. Leaders that take mental health a top priority and foster an environment conducive to open dialogue are crucial in transforming the organizational culture for the better. Employees can help by talking about their personal experience with mental health problems and by supporting and accepting workplace mental health programs. When top-level management prioritizes mental health in the workplace, employees benefit from improved programs and a more positive atmosphere. It can also be mentally taxing for these employees given the possibility of family distraction and the multiple roles that they must play while working from home.
Hi, my name is Si Ying. Remote working is one of the major challenges faced by the company as they have to ensure that employees working from home have the necessary resources to perform their job. Remote working involves technology solutions that promote communication between employees and supervisors, such as Zoom, Microsoft Remote Desktop, and Google that not all firms can afford. However, this is still a general access issue in HR for remote staff. All employees must have access to data and resources from any location, not just a computer. Remote working is quite different from traditional work in a few big ways. Working from home means that employee and their manager are separate from each other, while working remotely will offer many compelling benefits. it also presents certain challenges. HRM professionals also need to ensure that remote workers have access to high-quality channel of communication, management, and support. For communication during the pandemic lockdown, manager and HRM professionals face a number of challenges when tasked with undertaking strategy planning or putting in place the first one. While having clear workplace norms during challenging time can help reduce stress and at the same time increase motivation and confidence among employees, most organizations were unable to provide their workers with sufficient information about their management strategy or intended reaction to the pandemic. When information is missing or inconsistent and people are unclear on what they know, organizational behavior indicates an increased human demand for transparency, guidance, and making sense from what has transpired. At such time, a leader word and action can help to keep people safe, help them adjust and cope emotionally, and finally help them put their experience into context and draw meaning from it. Good communicator will take a deep breath and remember the fundamental while also appreciating what making the moment unique.
Hi everyone, my name is Jasper and I'll be covering the talent management portion of this presentation. So during the lockdown, the company was classified under non-essential companies and there was no production going on. Thus, the production staff were all told to take their leaves while office staffs could work from home. There came a time where the company could not afford to pay their workers as there simply were no sales to sustain the company, and the company had to economize by laying off staffs and operate on a leaner workforce. So they did this by downscaling and reducing the amount of production workers that was not needed at that time. However, when the rules were relaxed and non-essential companies could operate again, there was a need to fill up the roles that had been vacated during the lockdown. A mass hiring was initiated during the first phase. Many were hired with short-term contracts. This is to scout them during the contract phase. Should their performance be up to the company standards, then they will then be offered full-time positions with the company. Should the contract worker fail to meet their expectations, they will not be offered renewed contracts upon their contract expiry. This process is then repeated till all required positions are filled. On employee engagement, HR created virtual social activities such as virtual lunch or coffee breaks where everyone can have a video call during their breaks to chit-chat and socialize. And see, maybe even have volunteers who are willing to do home tours of their home or even introduce their families to their co-workers. This is one example of the kind of things that many HR professionals would have done in order to engage their staff before COVID-19. HR can also arrange one-to-one virtual meetings to check in with their employees on their statuses, work issues, relation management with their peer managers and peers, and to find out if there are any issues that HR could help with, such as attendance, pay slips, and general advice on how to manage COVID-19 at home. HR also organize and engage motivational speakers and psychologists for the employees to listen and talk to. This is to help employees cope with personal issues, loneliness, or depression.
Thank you, Jasper. For the management of employee performance and reward during indefinite lockdown, Mrs. J's company had to change the matrix used to evaluate employees. For example, they considered evaluating based on additional parameters such as adaptability and creativity. In addition to that, interactions are lesser nowadays. Therefore, conducting biannual reviews compared to annual review allowed their company to create more rooms for interaction and also provide more valuable feedback for the employee to improve. Based on the reviews, the company will reward employees with gifts and vouchers to invest in better work from home equipment or for their own consumption. For ethics and compliance, the company had concerns from the department managers that they are worried that their staff are not working or performing to the required standards. The advice given by Mrs. J's department was that overdoing checks and micromanaging employees could potentially decrease the trust between them. In order to not reach that stage, she encouraged managers to deliberately set realistic timelines for monitoring, as this will allow employees working remotely to have a timeline to work towards, and this would also allow easier tracking of employee performance. The company also arranged compliance training for all staff. Topics related to workplace safety was arranged by HR and implemented by the individual department heads. Example, production employees had a workplace safety course conducted for them. In conclusion, the disruptions that the pandemic has brought to HR managers can be challenging. Humans are the most important resource that will eventually determine and aid in the success of a company. Therefore, caring for the well-being of the employees is of an utmost priority. Hence, by adopting a strategic approach in addressing their individual growth despite the adversaries and frequent interaction will allow employees to feel motivated and remain loyal. With that, we've come to the end of our presentation. Thank you.